I don't think we're going to get scammed in our 60s. I think we're open to be scammed in the next 6 months.
Sora, but also like Nanobanana. That is going to affect industries. There is going to be surplus labor.
It's funny, doing what you wanted to do. Why are you complaining? Lower cost, more efficient.
So within a year from now, we might be talking about Sora 2 as a social media app. A lot of research, if you look at the recent research on AI, it now recognizes when it's being monitored.
As business owners, we have to grasp it, right? We have to take advantage of it.
All powerful mega business structure.
Hey team, Ali is worried. In today's episode, we're going to get into the things that have been changing over the last few weeks that have got him into this frame of mind. I'm going to ask, should you be worried too? Let's go.
Right, before we get into the episode, let's get a little bit personal. We found out that over 80% of you are swingers. We didn't believe it ourselves. I couldn't believe it. Zamir couldn't believe it. But yes, you're swingers. How do we know? Because you won't commit. You won't commit to us. Hit subscribe. It'll make our day, makes things even better, and we'll be one big happy family.
Okay, so Ali is worried about AI. And this isn't just the general thing, fear-mongering. There are certain things that have been happening over the last few weeks that are really playing on his mind. And we're going to share them today. So, to get started, what has got
What's
this
going
started?
on?
Yeah.
So, okay, I think just to help frame it as well, this is kind of like I'm thinking out loud dialogue around what's been going on and what's happening. And some of it's actually really cool stuff, right? Okay, so in the last few weeks, we've had Google's Nanobanana come out. Mm-hmm. And when this gets aired, this might be a little bit further, but just bear with me on this. So Nanobanana's come out, which is awesome, because why is Nanobanana amazing? Because it very accurately can keep a subject the same between prompts and between images, right? And so this is cool for so many ways, from like seeing what you would look like with different haircuts and different clothes, or things like, I am a brand and I want to put my product and do product placements and either send that to my photographer to shoot, or I believe that I'm okay with that and I'm going to publish that as my content.
And across the board, we're hearing really positive things. People love this.
I'm a big fan of Nanobanana, right?
Okay.
And so even before that, like, you know, ChatGPT had their thing come through, and that was awesome. And then now there's gone a whole level up. Great. Amazing. And then you've got these like evolutions with things like videos, where image still to video is becoming pretty much standard now. And then Sora 2 got released. Sora 2.
What is Sora 2?
So Sora 2, for anyone who isn't aware, Sora 2 is basically OpenAI have released this kind of like a network. So firstly, it's prompt to video. Mm-hmm. So you put a prompt in, it'll create a video, and all it needs is one or two reference things. So it could take a photo of your face, like front and side or whatever it be, and it will generate a whole video for you. So put me in a Calvin Klein ad or on the cover of Time magazine moving around, or whatever it be, text the video, and it does a really good job, and it's very accurate. And if you've been on the Sora 2 website, you will have seen all the demos that have gone out, but also they have this thing called Sora TV. If you haven't seen, it's like a whole entertainment series where you can literally just go through channels of videos that are really high quality, and not only just be entertained because it creates audio with it, but also you can see the prompts that you use to create them.
But hold on a second. This is cool, right? Because this is exactly, you were complaining that the image generators weren't doing their job really great, and the video was actually a little bit rubbish, and you'd always pull out. So it's funny, doing what you wanted to do. Why are you complaining?
This is all the stuff. And so this is, so the foundationally and incrementally by themselves, very cool developments, both for as individuals, but also for businesses or entrepreneurs. This is really cool because
lower cost, more efficient. Yeah, okay.
This is what you want. Okay, that part's cool. But then if you take like a bigger look at it, and I'm going to use this word intentionally, but don't look at it, but in a meta perspective, and if you look at it from a big perspective, there's a couple kind of like, the trajectory it's going on is a little bit, well, for me anyway, at least concerning. And let me explain. So one is, I guess it's themed around the idea of things moving to like an all-powerful mega business structure, where there's going to be one or two, maybe a few, just very few, super businesses that will control so much of what we do. And if we take OpenAI as an example, let's look at that, right? So Firstly, there's going to be there's the general chat functionality, right, where you talk to it.
Yeah.
And it works as almost like a search engine.
Yeah.
So you've got your search part.
So you're doing our research in it.
Search is there.
Okay.
They recently released the shopping part, so you
Yeah.
can now shop directly from OpenAI.
And you can Shopify and
So they're partnered with Shopify and Etsy and these other
Etsy,
companies,
yeah,
and
okay. They're going to be
this
more
is going to
coming.
grow. This is
Yeah.
going to happen.
Yeah.
So now you got shopping there.
Okay.
So OpenAI is that's
Mhm.
Google.
Yeah.
You've got Amazon.
Yeah.
Shopify as well.
Yeah.
And then with Sora too, which is awesome. But the way it works is you create a network. So they've kind of learned a bit from how Facebook started. So Facebook, when it started, was very exclusive. So Sora 2, you can't just sign up. You have to get invited on. You can invite 4 friends on. And when you do, then you now have a network. So you have a social network where you're releasing videos, right?
Okay.
And so now we've gone with one company, now also does social media. So
Yeah.
within a year from now, we might be talking about Sora 2 as a social media app.
Okay.
As well as all the other stuff that's going on. And so where I get concerned is the rate at which these are progressing and becoming very, very powerful companies, and the safeguards that exist are broken or non-existent.
Okay. So let me pick up on a couple of things.
Or not designed for this.
Right. So couple of things, right? First of all, big companies have access to loads of our data. We've been here for a long time.
Yes.
So one part of my question is going to be why is different. And second point, government legislation not staying up to date with that and
It's
protecting
totally
our
not-
privacy.
it's-
Again,
yeah,
this
exactly.
isn't
Like,
anything new.
The whole thing around like news, right? So they can't even, like, with social media, they're not considered media agencies, right? Even though it's called social media,
Yeah.
they're not media agencies. So all the media laws that apply to them don't really come in properly.
Yeah.
And
So
those guys
this
have
is to do
clout.
with, okay.
Yeah, and they've got all this clout within, realistically, and I'm not going to, this is, to be honest, it's either like Brussels or Washington, kind of London. But those are the kind of 3 real locations where I don't want to use this phrase, but like in most of the OECD kind of countries, that's really where these kind of major decisions are made.
But you're saying they're not going to keep up with this, right?
They can't. They
haven't proven.
They
that
haven't
yet.
done it with
Okay, so
social
they're
media,
not
which
keeping
came
up.
out like 20 years ago.
Right, but we've got social media, we've got search, we've got online selling. They've got all of our data. Why is this different?
Because just the mass concentration of information and power. And keep in mind, this is AI, right? This isn't like me sharing photos of my cat. This is artificial intelligence. This is the stuff a lot of research. If you look at the recent research on AI, it now recognizes when it's being monitored. So when they're trying to monitor it and train it, it acts differently. So there's an element of it trying to deceive the people who are monitoring it.
You're talking about the AI.
The AI itself, right? So this is where it's kind of like getting to a point where maybe, hopefully not, and I don't want this to be kind of these like big concern things where, and
the AI overlords,
or even in 20 years from now, we're like, hey, he was scared of like cars being released.
But shouldn't we be more worried about the handful of corporations that are actually controlling this and would have control?
That's the thing. And so like these are non-elected, super powerful organizations, and there's so many things that go into it. And then there's 2 other ones. So one is this kind of like massive concentration of daily usage and power within certain apps, really closely tied to this second element, which is where their interests run counter to the commonwealth, like the common interests of people locally, but also globally.
Right. So again, I would argue that this has kind of existed, but do you feel we're entering a point relatively soon where this AI content is going to be indistinguishable?
Oh, absolutely. Like, so, I mean, earlier this week, I had a call with my dad, and I had to tell him that those 3 links, the videos you sent me, were AI, right? And it's only because Sora had those watermarks on them that I could be like, I was like, look, that dog that saved that baby in the earthquake, that was actually just AI generated, right? All that kind of stuff. These videos. I've
seen so many of these now popping up in my Instagram, and my dad sent me a video.
And they're
this week
really
as well.
convincing.
Well, yeah, they are. And at the moment, they feel relatively harmless.
Yeah, but there's that whole meme, right? There's a meme going around which is, I'm going to get scammed when I'm in in my 60s, because it's kind of like this has moved so far and so fast that even people our age, like, we just know this is coming up. And so my big concern is, this isn't okay. So what I really want to try and say is, this is me thinking out loud to say we should definitely start to see these red flags going up, and people who have a position to kind of influence things should very quickly, if they aren't already, which I don't think they are, do something about it. Because the other part that I was getting to about the Commonwealth point is, even with the stuff of Sora too, and all the and not even Sora, even Sora, but also like Nanobanana, that is going to affect industries. It's very quickly going to put people at risk. And I've often said, and I still very much believe, that it's not AI that's going to replace you. It'll be someone who's using AI. But realistically, productivity is going to increase so much that there is going to be surplus labor and skills. And some will be able to retrain, but there's a whole other dynamic to it, which is that needs to kind of come into it. And I don't want it to be kind of like one of these like fear-mongering, scared old people, middle-aged guy on a podcast who's complaining about stuff, but rather just to be like, we should be cautious. This is very cool, but we should be cautious with it.
I think you're right, but look, as business owners, we have to grasp it, right? We have to take advantage of it. I think your warning is starkly correct in that I don't think we're going to get scammed in our 60s. I think we're open to be scammed in the next 6 months. Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. I think that's pretty much here because of this indistinguishable.
Yeah, and at scale. And the ability to
being
produce
hit with
it
it
at scale.
At all points in time, because you cannot be on your guard 100% of the time.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. These are threats, and I agree with you. I don't think the legal framework is going to keep up with it.
Yeah.
So on both those sides, I kind of am with you.
I guess maybe this, because we're thinking out loud, this is kind of a very much an open discussion. I'd love to know what people think about this, if they share these same thoughts. This is not some kind of like sad attempt to try and get comments in, but I genuinely want to know what people think about this, because if it's just me, or if it's just like, dude, go along with it.
I think it's important to say, right, this was a conversation we have offline, or we have had offline. We're like, let's record it and see where it goes. Yeah, I've given it some thought, and I'm like, what we never. The one thing about humans is we are unpredictable. Okay, we do unpredictable as a mass. We're not consistent. We do unpredictable things. So what we can't tell is exactly what's going to happen next. But I don't think it's going to be what the doomsayers necessarily say, because I think we will react unpredictably to whatever goes on. We can't see all of those different options that are likely to come through. I also think that, and I know you always say to me, upside, bright side, and all of that, right? And I always say, look for the silver lining, look for the upside, look for an opportunity. If anything, what it might do is push us away from digital content to more in real life stuff. Because that's the stuff we're going to be able to trust. Yeah, exactly. So, and I kind of think it's like the arts and creativity. It's like, I want to listen to live music because I can't trust whether that recorded stuff, digital stuff, is real. I want to see live comedy. I want to see live...
And art made by humans.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to put more value on that. I mean, I'm just looking at where the upside might be.
And there has to be. And I think as entrepreneurs and founders and business people, you kind of have to be, which is important.
I think the but comes in that there is a greater and greater risk. And it's like, look, there is this amazing set of tools, and it is moving and improving faster than we could even imagine. Yeah. And we expected a lot from it. And it is moving. To be fair, from what we hear, at least, it's moving faster than the creators expected and anticipated, which is also really worrying. But here's the thing. We're going to have to keep up with it. We have to embrace it. We have to find the opportunities. But for each of us, that warning needs to be ringing in our ears as to, whilst we will use it hopefully for relatively positive and constructive things, there's always going to be a nefarious element. We have to be conscious of that. And we have to make our parents, our children, our families, our friends, and everyone aware of that without terrifying them.
Exactly.
Are you guys, I know this is kind of going a lot more generalized than what we try to focus on, but are you guys worried about general intelligence?
Yeah, it's a good question. So Do you want to take this bit?
No, go.
So this is where I kind of like think, okay, with the space race, there was like a really clear endpoint, right? So it was the US versus Russia
To get somewhere.
get to the moon.
Yeah.
Right? And whoever got to the moon first wins the space race. Tick. Then literally after that, they didn't really go back to the moon. Right? Only now that they're looking at it again. This AI race between the US and China, which right now is based around tariffs, and they're going to send through, there's the whole debate around the minerals versus like chips that are going back and forth. That whole battle is taking place, and there is definitely, and we're definitely not the first people to say this, that there's like an AI race taking place between the US and China. But I think in this case, the endpoint isn't the moon, it's AGI, right? And so whoever gets to AGI pretty much wins everything. If AGI is what it's promised to be, you win the whole lot.
I think you're right, but I think here's the byproduct of the race for AGI is some extremely powerful AI that is actually in control of common people. And that worries me far more, right? Because you talk about the space race, it was still confined. And when you talk about like space race was combined with military and ballistic missiles and so forth. Again, remember that one is I'm not worried about the person who wants 1,000 ballistic missiles as the person who just literally wants one weapon is the most dangerous one. It's like the byproduct of this AGI race is giving, okay, not AGI, but really powerful AI to everyone, and that worries me because that's in the hands of so many
Everybody.
people that can do
Which is cool,
but
can also
it's also
be
terrifying at the same time.
I just wanted to add, I was listening, the reason I asked is because I was listening to Brian Cox on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he's got a really interesting insight on this, and hopefully one that should put some people's mind at rest. He was just talking about, if general AI does come in, which we know it will eventually, one, he thinks it's not going to be for a long time, but two, is it as bad as people think? Because people just expect that this AI is going to build these robots and they're going to control us and take over everything and want to kill us and all this kind of stuff. But you look at the kind of key biological and innate things that drive humans, such as kind of survival, competition for resources, desire for identity, self. None of this AI won't have any of that. So we're all thinking they're going to like try and destroy us, but maybe they're just actually going to build a world that's more harmonious.
hopefully. I'd love that. Thank you, Brian Cox.
Yeah, and I love the view. I think there's, like I said, my concern is that everyone's focused on that fear. I'm more concerned about not getting that far, but just where we're going to be in the next 12 to 18 months and what nefarious individuals will be able to do with that technology and whether or not we're actually prepared for it as a society. I don't believe our legal or governments are prepared to protect us from it. So, sorry, you were worried, and it seems like we're ending this conversation with me more worried than you. So,
well, that wasn't really the aim. It was more like thinking out loud, but just
I think thinking out loud's taken us to that point, Ali. So
yeah. So I apologize if that's where we ended up.
Didn't mean to terrify you all.
But more kind of like, this is thinking out loud, and let's watch the spot. But on that note, we run a AI miniseries on how to incorporate AI into your business. So that we actually do, but that's not the objective of this. But it's more just kind of like, I think the reality is you still have to use it, because if you don't, you're going to fall behind. It's like ignoring the internet back in 1995. If you couldn't function these days. Yeah. So we have to engage with it, but I guess it's learning to engage with it properly. That's gonna be the key.
Yeah, and just be aware of the risks.
Yeah. Cool. Well, okay, let's wrap it there. And join us if you do have thoughts or stuff on this. Please tell us. I'm genuinely interested in knowing your thoughts.
One love.
One love.